Hello and welcome to sim.bc. This is probably going to be the second video coming out, and now it's 13:54, still Thursday. Yay! Same shirt. Probably not going to change that. Well, we'll see. Gonna have that, transaction and interaction and whatever and whatnot. Well, anyway, hello, good evening, good day, good morning, whatever, wherever you are all over the world. I'm not at all trying to fill this out with time because I have nothing to talk about. No, I actually do. You all probably have heard about the 4 Ps of marketing or customer orientation, however you want to say it, but I am going to introduce to you the 4 Cs. I know, mind-blowing. There are 4 Cs as well? Yes, there are. Are they the same thing? Yes, they are. Well, it's basically the same thing but with different names, but we were taught way back when we were freshmen at university, that people are going to move over to the 4 Cs instead of the 4 Ps. Why? Well, because it's all about the customer. It's not about the product, it's not about the price, it's not about the place, it's not about the promotion, which is the 4 Ps. It's about the customer solution, the customer cost, the convenience, and the communication, or the customer convenience and the customer's communication, but that doesn't roll as easily off the tongue, even though I would say solution should be one and cost should be one, and they should take away customer from those, but whatever, I'm not the one making all the calls and the choices. So without any further ado, let's move into them. First we have product, and what is product? Well, product is the actual product, but in the C's, they want to try to transform that into the customer solution. And why do they want to do that? Well, it's quite simple, isn't it? Because if you say, I'm marketing a product, you yet again, and I think I mentioned this in the previous video that I did like 10 minutes ago, so I should remember, but for you it will be an entire day ago, so I'm gonna look super cool and smart when I remember it. It's about the customer perspective, right? That's what they want to try to push with the 4 Cs, because if you say, I have a product that I want to market, then you're basically saying, well, here we are, the company, and we want to sell you a product. And the customer is like, but why should I buy that product from you when there are lots of products, maybe? Or, for instance, when I have a limited amount of cash and my bargaining power isn't that high to begin with, and I have lots of other stuff to buy, why should I buy this product from you? Instead, you want to change the perception here, and as we went through yesterday in the marketing process, the simple marketing process or marketing model, is that you want to put the perspective from the customer's perspective. So instead of saying, I'm selling you a product, you want to say, I'm selling you a solution. Or rather, I'm providing you with a solution to this problem. And they're like, that makes sense. I want that. I want a solution. I don't want problems. And it totally makes sense all of a sudden. Yet again, it is this different perception. It's basically the same thing. You're selling them a product, which is a solution. But if you're saying it's a product, many people have this stigma of, oh, it's a product, it's the consumption behavior culture, and it's all that and all this, and money all there and money all there, and environmentally dangerous things, and wow, the planet's gonna end. However, if you say, I'm selling you a solution, you just look like you're a guy or a product or someone that's trying to help this person, and then you will probably have a bit more luck when it comes to marketing your product. So instead, we should try to move away from this idea that I'm selling you a product and instead think I'm providing you with a solution. This concept and this mindset is probably what's going to be the key factor going through all of these steps. So moving over to price. Instead of thinking about price as a how can we make profit, how much margin do we have to add on in order to sell this and still retain a profit, you should instead think, what is the customer cost? And as I said before, the customer might walk around there and say, well, I have $1,000 that I've earned this month, and what should I spend these $1,000 on? Half of it goes to rent, half of it goes to rent, the 2/3 I have left goes to food and bills. So why should I spend the little amount of cash I have on this product? So you have to yet again think and put yourself in the perspective of not only that you need to make a profit from it because you need to, but you also need to think about how much will this cost the customer. how much of the disposable income this customer have will be used to buy your product? Is this feasible for the customer to think that, oh, I'm going to prioritize that product because the price is good enough? Or is the price going to be too high and the customer is just going to go, no, that's unconceivable. That's not, no. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference there. You can't only think as a corporation when you market, you have to think about who is going to buy it. And that's yet again why we talked about establishing a target market a few days ago. It's really important that you know who your target market is. Yeah, it was in the elevator pitch actually. So who is your target market? And based on who your target market is, you need to come up with a price. But instead of thinking about it as a price, you need to think about it in the mindset of the customer, like how much of my disposable income am I going to need to spend on this product in order to get it? In order to gain the solution to my problem, how much of my cash do I need to fork over to the corporation? And that's something that's really hard because you need to make a profit, obviously. But perhaps if the price is too high with the margin you've set, you perhaps need to look at your can I make the supply chain more effective? Can I save money anywhere so that I can lower the price but still retain the same profit so that the customer cost is lowered? Because yet again, you need to think about the customer, and then you don't want to get it too low because then customers will think, oh, this cost is way too little. I can spend more money on this product. So then they perhaps will move to a different brand even though the quality is the same because they have this perception of low cost is low quality. So you need to think about where do I meet like the optimal cost to quality to feasibility, spectrum. It's all these different lines that needs to be correct and matched. And that's what you got to think about when you're in the marketing position. Not only about the company, but also about the customer and the consumer. The third one is place. And if you think about it, you might think, oh, a place, well, that's just dandy. I can put it in this brand new store that just opened up 400 kilometers outside the city. Because it's a really good place to have it. They have the best promotion, they have the best place for it. They have all the other brands are there, and they have this, I don't know, this stigma, not stigma, but this relationship, this reputation. They have this reputation of being good. But then you have to think about the average consumer yet again. 300 kilometers or whatever I said, outside the city, anyway, a far way away from the city. Are people actually going to go there? Even if the reputation of the place is really good. Are people going to go there often enough so that it makes sense to buy your product? Is your product enough to make them go there? Do you need to rely on them going to buy other products if they want to buy your product as well, if they're going to actually go all the way over there? Because you need to think about the customer's convenience. And this is something that is really, really important. Something that, yet again, most people just think like, I don't care. When you market, it's like, I have this potentially amazing marketing place. The place where I want to market my product. I have this store, which is the best, according to all the statistics. But, as I said, statistics and number doesn't matter as long as people don't actually go there. So convenience. I would argue that it's probably better to have it in the middle of the city instead of all the way out there if you need to sell them a lot of your product in order to actually make a reasonable profit. So actually, yeah, and that depends. Going to move over to promotion, the fourth step, going to mix and match here a bit because promotion is also in the mindset of the customer is going to be communication. So your communication with the customer, but that's also the convenience and the communication needs to fit. Because if we're going to move through all of them. Okay, you need to have a good product, right? And then you need to be able to communicate what this product actually is. Is this product a one of? Is it a 10 of that you need in your home? Do you need like hundreds of them? Do you just need one? Is it a really expensive product? Is it a luxury product? And dependent on how you communicate your product, you can set a price that is reasonable so that the consumer think that, oh, the cost for me is high, but this is a luxury product, I only need one. Then the convenience might be a thing that if the convenience is if it's too close to you, and it's of a too low price and it's deemed to be a luxury product because that's how you communicate it, people might still not buy it because they're like, it's too close, it's too cheap for me, I can spend more money and I can actually get away from my home if I want to gain this luxury product. So then it might actually make sense for you to make it inconvenient for them to actually get it. You know what I mean? Because you might only need to sell one. However, if you need to sell a lot, for instance, food, you might need to say, well, we need to communicate this message to the consumer, not only promote it, but actually communicate what it means for them, and set a low price and set or a price that is reasonable for quality, but still cheap enough to buy lots of. It's going to be convenient, and we have to have, and this is the customer solution for the people who actually want to buy like quality food for a low buck, something like that. That's using all the four, but yet again, need to have this perception of the customer. And just a good, quick experience from my case when it comes to communication. Not communication per se from a specific company, but just a communication of what something means to me. So, for instance, I went on this trip with my mate, or not with my mate, but with a guy when I went from this back to Bordeaux on the bus. And we talked about, he was in Copenhagen a while back, and he talked about this huge and enormous bridge that he liked. And I was like, which bridge? I've been there a couple of times, and I don't remember any bridge that's, cool or worth to keep in mind. Turns out it's the bridge between Denmark and Sweden. And I was like, I've seen that all day, every day, my entire life. It means nothing to me. But then I realized that that's the like connection I've made with the bridge. I've seen it all the time, so for me it's nothing special, but for other people it might be something special. And then you can use this when you communicate, like if you are a tourist office, you can communicate this bridge in a certain way. For me it's convenience that I can go over to Denmark, but for people that comes from far away, it can be the communication of this is something really cool that you want to look at. Yet again, and this is based on my convenience that it's so close, so I don't care about how the product is or how the bridge is, and but people who are really far away might actually want to go over there and pay a lot of money to actually see it, because this is going to be the customer solution for their experience. While for me, it's just like, I don't know, I've seen it before. Might be a bit loose there, a bit far-fetched, but I think it's a really good analogy for what it actually is. So, that's all from me, guys, from today. Let's see you tomorrow. For me, it's going to be in 10 minutes, but whatever. It's going to be on Saturday for you, probably. So, see you tomorrow on Saturday if everything works out. Have a nice one, mates.